Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Let's talk about one of the hottest teams in football. The Los Angeles Rams defeat the New Orleans Saints 30-22 as they move to 8-7. Matthew Stafford on the day, 24-34, 328 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kyren Williams on the day, 22 carries, 104 yards and a touchdown. Puka Nacua continues his excellence, 9 catches, 164 yards and a touchdown. Now, this was a big time win. It kind of was a must-win game for the LA Rams, playoff-like atmosphere, and they went in there and got the victory. Now, the Rams currently sit in the NFC 6th seed with a 70% chance to make the NFL playoffs. This would set them up for a Matthew Stafford homecoming versus the Detroit Lions. Also, Jared Goff's old team is the LA Rams, so that would be a revenge game. One of those homecoming games for both teams, and a game I think everyone will want to see. The last 2 games for the LA Rams are at Giants and at 49ers. 2 interesting games, and I think really for that 49ers game, will the 49ers have the 1 seed locked up by then? Will they be in the 1 seed or will they be out of the 1 seed in a situation where maybe they can rest some guys or maybe they have to play their big time starters? I think either way, it's going to be a divisional game and it's one of those trap games. The LA Rams, the way they're playing right now, they can compete with probably about anybody in the league. But when I say something like that, the question for today's video is, how dangerous are the Los Angeles Rams? We keep talking about it, and we're starting to see a couple of things. In the last 5 games for the LA Rams, they've been averaging 32.4 points per game. That's up there with the best offenses in the NFL, and I think we're seeing one of the best offenses in the NFL. Number 7th ranked offense, number 10 passing offense, and number 11 rushing offense. Now, when I talk about this offense, we're going to get into the weapons, but for me, it starts off with the guy at the top, Sean McVay. And the way Sean McVay has coached this team, he's definitely right in the thick of my Coach of the Year votes. When I look at the Coach of the Year award, I'm not looking at the best team. I'm not looking at the team with the best record. That's the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not saying Kyle Shanahan can't be the Coach of the Year, but I think for me, at least when I look at an award like this, who's the guy like a D'Amico Ryans, like a Shane Steichen, like a Dan Campbell, who's making the situation a little more than what it actually was expected to be? I think for Sean McVay, he's made this situation better than what anybody thought it would be this season. So that's why I have him in the thick of a race like that. And when he talks about these weapons, when we talk about these weapons, you're looking at the quarterback. You're looking at an offensive line that has consistently gotten better with the talent they have. You look at Kevin Dotson. You look at Steve Avila, some of those guys at the tackle positions. But the emergence of the top 2 guys who we're going to talk about today, Kyren Williams, Puka Nacua, it was unprecedented for me. And I say that because I truthfully mean that. Puka Nacua, 5th round pick coming out of BYU. Kyren Williams, 5th round pick. He's a 2nd-year guy out of Notre Dame. Very talented player, but he just doesn't have the ultra athleticism. And then we look at his stature, not a traditional runner for how he's built. And then you look at Puka Nacua, he's winning versus man coverage. He's winning versus zone coverage. He reads zone coverages like he's a seasoned 10-year veteran. How has Sean McVay simplified but kept the offense exotic? That's one of the hugest things we're going to talk about in this video. And when you look at Matthew Stafford, when I talk about an offensive line that has gotten better, that can protect them, that we're seeing last night had very good protection, he's going to be a guy. You can't give me 10 quarterbacks better than a protected Matthew Stafford. Number 1 overall pick, broke some records in Detroit. One of those big-time guys came out of the University of Georgia, Super Bowl champion. That Matthew Stafford, we're seeing that again. And when I talked about the LA Rams a little earlier, I saw potential in this team, but I said, can they protect them when it matters the most? And if you don't protect them, now he's going to press a little bit and he's going to turn over the football. The biggest thing I saw about last night's game, I think that they were the better team, but I didn't see any interceptions and I didn't see no fumbles. That's something when we look at this team now, because you talk about the defense, and I think for the defense, they have some pieces. We look at Aaron Donald, Kobe Turner. He had a lot of wins last night on the interior. But when you get outside of that, they're very young in the back end. You look at Darion Kendrick, Kobe Durant. He is a South Carolina guy. I'm from South Carolina. Akello Witherspoon, another guy that we talk about in that secondary. Ernest Jones holding it down at the linebacker position, had some timely blitzes. But I want to talk about this offense because it's up there with the best of those teams. When we get into the playoffs, how can you stop an offense like this? Having a quarterback, like I just said, with all of the accolades, as decorated as a Matthew Stafford, Then you can balance that out, run the football with Kyren Williams, have the play action, still got a Triple Crown winner in Cooper Kupp, still got Puka Nacua, who's going to probably have 1,500 yards on the season. He's 9 receptions short of breaking the NFL single-season receptions record, and he's 147 yards short of eclipsing the NFL single-season rookie receiving yards record. Got 2 games left. If you tell me that Puka Nacua can't get 9 catches and 147 yards in 2 games, I'm going to look at you like you don't know what you're talking about. I think he has a very good shot at this thing. And when you look at Kyren Williams, to talk about what he's doing, how they're leaning on the play action with a guy like Matthew Stafford, who can make every throw and is decisive against coverages, he has 1,057 yards on the season on 207 carries. The biggest thing about that, he's averaging about 96 yards per game. He's 4th in the NFL in rushing, but he missed 3 starts. Where would Kyren Williams be? Yards from scrimmage and yards on the ground. Where would he be if he started all 14 games, actually all 15 games for this football team? Where would he be in a season like that? So you start to see what I'm saying when I talk about how dangerous this team is. He's averaging 5.1 yards per carry, 9 touchdowns. In those 2 fifth-round picks, how did the NFL miss on that? Now, I understand, you want the traitsy guy. You want the guy who's 6 feet, 215 pounds, can run 4.4, 4.5 at the running back position. But Kyren Williams is ultra talented. He's not going to hit his head on the goalpost from the 50-yard line, but he's a down-to-down back. He's going to nail and bite you. He's going to be the physical guy, and then they still have Royce Freeman, a guy who can nail and bite you, wear you down a little bit, and then you got those weapons on the outside. I haven't even talked about Demarcus Robinson. On the game yesterday, he had 6 catches for 82 yards, and he had that touchdown in the red zone. A lot of things shaking up with this team. Now, I think for me, when I go back to the defense, that's going to be the biggest question when we get into playoff football, and it's led by Aaron Donald. Raheem Morris is the defensive coordinator, but you're going to want to say, Matthew Stafford, don't turn over the football. Kyren Williams, don't fumble the football. They're going to have to win the turnover battle. That's how I see them getting the victories in the playoffs. But don't give up the big play. I'm looking at that first half against the New Orleans Saints last night. Rashid Shaheed, Ahkello Witherspoon, him and a safety. I believe it might have been Jordan Fuller. It was one of the safeties, or Darian Kendrick. It was one of the safeties for the LA Rams. Miscommunication in the back end. Where's our help? We're biting down. We got to be deep. If it's a one-high man safety coverage, we got to be as deep as the deepest, and we got to help our guy on that number 1 receiver. Rashid Shaheed having an amazing season for the Saints. That's here nor there. I digressed a little bit, but I think those are the biggest things you want to see. This is a defense that leans their hard hat on stopping and run. 13th in rush defense. Now, when we talk about pass defense, bottom 20 defense. But if you can stop the run, now we time up some of those blitzes like I saw with Ernest Jones. Now we let Aaron Donald get after it. Or even Kobe Turner. He's going to see a lot of one-on-ones just because he's alongside a guy like Aaron Donald who's going to get double, triple team, chipped, everything on every down. But the goal of what I'm saying is when I talk about how dangerous this team is, when we ask these questions, can the defense hold it down? Raheem Morris, he has one of the best opportunities because he's playing alongside an offense who's humming. He has Aaron Donald. He has some of this young talent. Kobe Durant, Ahkello Witherspoon, Darian Kendrick, Jordan Fuller, Ernest Jones. I'm naming them. But he has these things working for him. And like I said, when you can stop the run in the playoffs, you're going to be well off. Now, when you face some of those guys, we can even talk about a hypothetical Detroit matchup. You got J-Mo. You got Sam Laporta. I just dropped a film breakdown on Sam Laporta. You got Amon St. Brown, who's I don't even know what to say about Amon St. Brown no more. I saw it last season, but this year he's on a different level. So that's one of the things. And then they can run the football like no other. Got number 5 in the backfield. Got Jahmyr Gibbs. A lot of different things. So I think this is a very dangerous team. I'm going to want to see how do they perform against the 49ers in that last game of the season. It's going to tell me a lot. But right now I think the offense is humming. I don't see a defense who can stop this offense right now, the way they're playing. Film breakdown may be on the way, hint, hint. But I think there may be a defense who can potentially slow them down. And it's going to start with the offensive line. Right now and last night, they're playing very good. But when you talk about Detroit, and Detroit isn't a team that gets as many sacks. Now, they're going to pressure you. They're going to be down his neck, but can they get him to the ground and really affect the throw? That's something we're going to look at. But even if you get into a matchup with a team like the 49ers, you play them in the last week, can the offensive line in the pass blocking schemes hold up? That's just where I'm at with it right now. I think it's a big time challenge for this defense. Stick with your offense. They're hot right now. This is one of the hottest teams in football. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All my Rams fans, let me know what you think about this down below in the comments. How dangerous is your football team? Detroit Lions fans, how would you feel about Matthew Stafford coming back to Ford Field Stadium, playing against that team? It's going to be a lot of emotions. It's going to be a lot of different things. I want to know what the temperature is. How does Detroit feel about Matthew Stafford right now? But I think those are all my topics, all my questions for today. And now